had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire an energy vampire. But also, they're a literal vampire. And suddenly my team is spending all their time sharpening wooden stakes and buying bulk silver and rehearsing ancient chants, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant takes insights from over 1 billion professionals to create a short list of the best fits for you. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
Something's coming. Do you hear it? Can you see it? Trundling across the common, following the old holloways, sauntering down the lane, rocking up into the market square, laying out its wares. It reels you in with mysteries, trades with you fantastic tales, spins for you fascinating stories. Stories like the haunted pound stretcher, flying saucers, poisoners and body snatchers, haunted woodland, and the secret tunnels beneath our feet. Weird in the Wade is on its way, a podcast that explores everything that is weird, wonderful, and a little off-kilter in the town of Biggleswade in Bedfordshire. If you like your spooky stories told with a dash of historical context, or you like your history with a pinch of the paranormal, then this is the podcast for you. Never miss an episode. Subscribe to Weird in the Wade wherever you're listening now.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts. I'm your host and spirit medium, Jennifer. I want to welcome you into my spirit parlor this evening. Have a cozy seat over here by the fire. I have a new velvet throw that you can borrow as we sit in the candlelight. And let's just take a moment. Winter is busy with the holidays, and it gets dark so early. All I want to do is rest. And raise your hand if you hosted more than one gathering this holiday season. I am ready for a spiritual reset. 2025 was just an incredibly busy year for me, and it only ramped up for me the farther into the year I progressed. So tonight, let's talk about something I think a lot of people quietly crave right now, but don't always know how to define it. A spiritual reset. Not a full overhaul, definitely not a 5 a.m. meditation practice or a 30-day challenge. No, just a soft return, a remembering, a way to bolster your spiritual journey without making it another thing on your to-do list. If you've ever felt spiritually tired or disconnected or rusty, like you somehow fell off the path, thank you for joining me tonight for this conversation. And if you're skeptical, overwhelmed, or just spiritually curious, stay with me here. No beliefs need to change. This is going to be gentle work. Let's start with something really important. You don't actually lose your spirituality. You don't misplace it. You don't fail it. You don't get kicked out of some invisible spiritual club that you have to rejoin and prove yourself worthy of. What usually happens is this. Life gets loud. Responsibilities pile up. Grief happens. Stress moves in, and your nervous system goes into survival mode. And when that happens, your spirituality, it doesn't disappear. It just goes quiet. A spiritual reset isn't about getting back something you've lost. It's about turning down the noise enough to hear what's already there. That's it. No effort required, just a little space. Somewhere along the way, we picked up the idea that spiritual growth must be disciplined, consistent, intense, or impressive. That if we're not meditating daily, journaling, pulling cards, grounding, cleansing, aligning, manifesting, and healing our inner child, we must be doing it wrong. We must not be worthy of a spiritual life. But spirituality isn't a productivity system. I think in our modern culture, we tend to automatically measure things on this scale of productivity and what the output is or what the effects and results are. And it traps us into making it something it should never be in the first place. Forcing yourself into spiritual practices when you're exhausted often does the opposite of what you want. It creates resistance and guilt and disconnection. A reset starts by letting yourself off the hook. You are allowed to rest inside your spirituality. And with that, let's talk about burnout for a moment. Because burnout doesn't just affect your body or your motivation, it affects your sense of meaning. When you're burned out, everything feels flat. Even the things that once felt magical and comforting can feel really removed or unreachable. And here's what I really want you to hear. Burnout is not spiritual failure. It's not a sign that you've fallen out of alignment in any way. It's not proof that you're disconnected from something higher. Burnout is what happens when your system has been asked to give more than it can sustain. Your soul doesn't need growth at that moment. It needs relief. So if your spirituality feels distant right now, this may actually be wisdom. It may be the part of you saying, not another thing to maintain, please. A spiritual reset during burnout looks a lot like subtraction, not addition. Less effort, less expectation, less pressure to feel inspired or uplifted. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is to let yourself be dull and boring for a while. Stop reaching, stop striving. Your depth hasn't gone anywhere. You're just resting. Whether you're burned out in the middle of a life shift or just quietly tired, this is why a low-effort spiritual reset matters. Not because you need fixing, but because you deserve gentleness. And I know when we're tired, that's when the personal judgment tends to kick in. We criticize ourselves for not being able to do it all. And this judgment only buries us more. It stacks up the lower vibrations that lead to guilt and shame, and you'll never improve or benefit from these emotions. These energies shouldn't ever have your influence. Don't fight these feelings or argue with them. Try just to put them down and gently say, this energy is not for me. This isn't working. I'm going to put it down and I'm going to walk away. When you're burned out, even the idea of healing can feel like work. So instead of asking yourself to do something different, what if you simply stayed where you are and looked around? Not to fix, not to improve, just to notice. That quiet noticing is often the first place spirituality returns. Notice what you're already doing. You don't need new rituals. You don't need new tools. Ask yourself these questions. When do I feel the most like myself? When do I feel calm, open, or present, even briefly? When does time soften for me? For some people, it's walking. For others, it's showering or listening to music, enjoying a cup of tea, standing outside for a moment longer than necessary. Spirituality sneaks in through the cracks of our daily lives. The reset happens when you recognize those moments as sacred instead of dismissing them as mundane. This recognition alone is really, really powerful. And from there, let's talk about micro practices, things so small your brain can't argue with them. Not habits, not routines, just moments. Here's a few to consider. 1 conscious breath before opening your phone. Or place a hand over your heart and say, I'm here. Look at the sky once a day and actually see it. Or thank your body for getting you through the day. That's it. You don't need to stack these, you don't need to track them, you don't need to optimize them. These are not steps forward, they're points of connection. And over time, this builds. This absolutely builds and fortifies yourself as a spiritual being. Let's talk about resetting your energy without energy work. You don't have to visualize light or clear your chakras to shift your energy. Your nervous system is the gateway. When your body feels safe, your intuition strengthens. So when you want a spiritual reset, try this instead of effort. Sit somewhere comfortable, let your shoulders drop, unclench your jaw, and exhale longer than you inhale. It's not a meditation, it's regulation. And regulation is deeply spiritual, whether you call it that or not. Your energy doesn't need fixing. It needs permission to settle. I think this is a perfect time to discuss personal upheaval. As you know, last year I had to move 4 different times. 4 times. Packing up and moving. I'm not going to get into the details of why everything is okay. It was just a very big transitional year for me. So I can really relate to personal upheaval. Your personal upheaval might feel like your life has cracked open. You may have experienced loss or change, endings, identity shifts, relationships shifting, or realities in your life that you didn't necessarily choose. During times of upheaval, spirituality often doesn't feel peaceful. A lot of times it feels raw or absent. And that's because upheaval isn't meant to be spiritually aesthetic. It isn't a time for answers. It's a season for being with what is. You don't want to fall into the trap of fighting your reality. You don't want to argue with what is. What is. And sometimes you just can't change that. If you're going through something big, your spirituality reset might look like allowing yourself not to have all the answers right now. Or letting grief exist without trying to heal it. Sitting with uncertainty without forcing meaning onto it. Spirituality during upheaval is not about clarity. It's about companionship. It's about quietly reminding yourself, I'm not alone in this existence, even if I don't understand it yet. You don't need to rise above what's happening. You don't have to reframe it. You don't need to trust the process before you're ready. Sometimes spirituality is just staying present long enough for life to move through you. That counts deeply. Now, this part is important. A spiritual reset doesn't always come from doing. Sometimes it comes from being held by nature, by music, by story, by memory, by something larger than you. You don't have to name it God, source, spirit, or universe. Just let yourself lean. Sit near a tree. Listen to a song that opens your heart. Read something that reminds you there's more to reality than emails and errands and problems you need to solve. That leaning is spiritual trust in its simplest form. So how do you know if your reset is working? I don't think you're going to have any fireworks or visions here. You're just going to feel slightly more present. You respond instead of reacting once in a while. You feel kinder towards yourself. You notice beauty more easily. That's the shift. Subtle, quiet, real. If you're listening to this and thinking, I wish I felt more spiritual than I do, that longing in itself is part of your spirituality. You don't need a reset because you're broken. You need one because you're human. Let it be simple. Let it be soft. Let it meet you where you are. And if nothing else, let this be your reminder. You're already on the path, even if you need to pause and stop walking for a while. Thank you for spending this time with me in my spirit parlor tonight. I hope it was a space of calm and quiet and encouragement for you. Sometimes that's all we really need, and I want to share that with you. If you're interested in a little printable, downloadable reminder of topics that I talked about in this episode, you can visit my Patreon at patreon.com/italktoghosts. All my offerings like this are available for $1 a month. Do you have simple spiritual reset practices that gently support your soul? I would love to hear about them, so please leave a comment where you can. Until next time, take care.
Hey there, I'm Susie, and I'm the host of Beyond the Ferns podcast. Each week, I take you beyond the headlines into the stories that linger long after the news fades. From chilling true crime and unsolved cold cases, to paranormal encounters, cults, and extraordinary survival stories. It's a little bit of everything for everyone. Whether you're drawn to mysteries, fascinated by the strange and unexplained, or simply love a good story, I focus on the truth, the details, and above all, justice for the victims and survivors. So buckle up. Things are about to get a little scary. Follow Beyond the Ferns wherever you get your podcast. Thanks, y'all.
Hey everyone, I'm Erica.
And I'm Elizabeth.
We're sisters, wine lovers, and your hosts for the podcast Spirits Uncorked.
In season 2, we're leaving the haunted waters of Lake Lanier in Georgia and diving into all new spooky stuff. Shadow people?
I've seen them.
Haunted military bases?
I've served on one.
Local restaurants with ghostly reputations?
I work at one.
Okay, if something spooky doesn't happen to you, I worry about you.
The paranormal is my normal.
Plus, we'll sip and chat with horror authors, fascinating guests, and test out some superstitions along the way.
Knock on wood.
So uncork a bottle and pour a glass of the paranormal with us on season 2 of Spirits Uncorked.
Get ready for sips, scares, and sisterly sarcasm.